Sharalee is with us, and she's got a very fascinating guest. Sharalee?
I really do, Ben. You know, in his more than 40 years as a primary care physician, our next guest made some surprising discoveries about the patients he treated. And those discoveries, plus a personal battle with cancer, formed the basis for his exciting and revolutionary new approach to health care. Please welcome to the 700 Club to tell us how to get well and stay well, Dr. Paul Johnson. Welcome, Dr. Johnson. Good to have you with us. Dr. Paul, you've been a well-known Christian physician in the Seattle area for more than 40 years, as we said in the intro. Did it ever enter your mind, I mean, ever in your wildest imagination, ever enter your mind that one day you would become on the opposite side of the spectrum and become a patient?
The patient rather than the doctor?
Right.
Didn't really look forward to that, but I knew it could happen. It so happened that my family has some genes that are a little cancerogenic. My mother died of cancer, my brother died of cancer, and I should have been aware of the fact that I was a prime candidate. However, you sort of put that in the background. And one day I knew it was time for an examination, and so I went voluntarily, had no symptoms, nothing, no pain, went to the radiologist for my barium enema, which is not all fun and games.
Right.
But I was lying on the examining table, and as John, our radiologist, was doing the examination and the technicians around, I was watching the examination on the TV monitor. We can do that now. And as I saw the barium outline this huge tumor, it got very quiet in the examining room.
Because everyone knew.
Everyone knew exactly what had happened. And John cleared his throat. Now, when a doctor clears his throat, you got a problem.
Watch out, right?
Watch out, something's happening. So as a result of that, of course, my life, as it had been, just ground to a halt. 1 minute, I was totally free of any problems, I thought. The next second, I was in crisis. And that's what happens. And how do you handle that? What happens to you when you go through that? It was very difficult for me to really fathom out what had happened, what went wrong, how come I got myself, why didn't I have a few symptoms or something? Nothing. So I drove home to see my wife Genevieve and tell her what was going on, and the thought kept occurring to me, you know, what went wrong? What could I have done to avoid this? Well, maybe there was nothing, I don't know, but in the next little while to get ready for surgery, because they just took me then, and I was bouncing from one doctor to the next until I was admitted to the hospital for my surgery.
You went into surgery approximately 2.5 days after you found out that you had the cancer. While you were being prepared for surgery, something very special happened to you. What was that? Well,
I think what you're referring to is that when I was taken to the surgery, to the operating room, I knew the people in there, and we tried to pass a little small talk around, but that didn't go very far. And they knew what I had, I knew what I had, and it was like looking at a wild tiger in the eye. Mm-hmm. And so the needle was put in my arm for the anesthesia, and during the induction, a strange thing happened. Just before I had gone, the thought occurred to me, you know, can I really place my entire trust in God? I knew I could, but you know, when you face it, you wonder, is it really, is there anything I can do, and so forth? And you sort of have that doubt maybe, that maybe all is not secure in him, which is not, of course, not true. But during the anesthesia, during the induction, I started tumbling through space. And I was tumbling, falling faster and faster and faster in this dark abyss, black, pitch black. And it was getting cold, and I was alone. I felt totally terrified. And all of a sudden I heard this commanding, gentle, but sovereign voice say, "Paul, don't worry. No matter how fast you fall or how far you fall, I'm here to catch you." And at that, I totally relaxed. That's the last thing I remember. And when I woke up, I was in the recovery room. I had pain, so forth, from the surgery. And when I got back to my room, the first thing I told my wife, Genevieve, I want to tell you what happened to me. And then I told her about this free fall. But from that time on, I knew that I was totally secure, and I had really nothing to be concerned about. Oh, I had to go through all of the treatments of chemotherapy, and that is not fun and games. I lost all my hair, and there are a few things about along the way that God will give you that are kind of funny, you know, even losing your hair. I had one patient come in and say, well, Dr. Johnson, you know, you used to wear your hair long, but this is kind of ridiculous. Well, she didn't know I'd been going through chemotherapy. But so there are a few things that make you laugh along the way.
When you came out of this experience, you had been through not only discovering the cancer and then having the surgery and going through the chemotherapy, but now you had to come back and make a resolution within yourself about what had happened to you and why. And there were some very interesting things that came as a result of that, and one of them is the book that you have written.
Right, and see, about that time, a lot of research was put into, and still is going on, about cancer, AIDS, and organ transplantation. And all of this has centered in a cell called the lymphocyte, which is a white blood cell that we all have. And we all thought it was kind of a innocuous, uninteresting cell until about 20 years ago. Now we find out it is the center of all of the research. It is going to be the window which we can break through into the treatment of cancer, treatment of AIDS, treatment of organ transplantations, and that sort of thing. So it has become the most important secret of medical history. The lymphocyte is so important, it even thinks it's called the floating brain. It has the capacity of circulating in the system when there's something going wrong. It identifies the problem, calls its brothers and sisters, whoever they are, the lymphocytes, to attack this. It secretes what we call lymphokines, which may be chemicals, or we've heard of interferons, interleukin 1 and 2 and so forth. These are all lymphokines which come from the lymphocyte. So keep your eye on the lymphocyte, folks. This is going to be the key to big, big things in the future of medicine.
And also one other point I would like to make, and that is go and get physicals. Don't wait for symptoms and things like that to happen. You should have done it.
I should have done that.
The body is fearfully and wonderfully made. Dr. Johnson, thank you so much for being with us on the 700 Club. We will be right back right after this.